Alright, what's up guys? So in the previous video, I explained the importance of market size, and in this one I want to explain the importance of the team that you surround yourself with, and whether you need a team if you're trying to start something of your own, and the importance of domain knowledge, which is understanding the technical aspects it's understanding the technical aspects of the field you're getting into. Now, let me give you guys a few updates what's been going on in this house the last few days. First of all, people have been getting sick left and right. Fortunately, me and two other people, including FaceIQ, have not been sick recently. I was sick like a week or two ago, and it was pretty bad, but it was more of like a cold. But recently, like my brother, who's visiting me here, and a few other people on our team are like super sick, like vomiting convulsively. Literally the worst I've ever seen someone throw up. It was horrible to watch, but they're improving. They're a little bit better now. They had a doctor come in, so it's a good sign. But now in a bit, I'm actually going to go to the gym, and I'll take you guys down there with me, and we'll do a very quick workout, like a pull workout. But yeah, that's the recent state of things. Hopefully that doesn't befall me or the others as well. Now, with that being said, let me just explain a bit on the importance of domain knowledge and the team you surround yourself with. And I won't spend that much time on the team. It should be pretty self-explanatory. Surrounding yourself with a team when you build a product or a service or anything that you want to scale is essential. There's just too many moving components to a business, and you won't understand it until you actually start building that you can do by yourself. And perhaps if you're very intelligent, you can do it by yourself, you can juggle it, but it's never the most efficient route, right? And I talked about in my previous video how efficiency and doing things properly, doing things with prudence, like understanding with forethought how efficient it is optimal. You can get into things by yourself, and I think it's not a total throwaway to do that, because you learn things and you do build experience, like I did with my first software, the Harmony app. And I only had one employee, but I was doing most of the things myself, most of the conceptualizing, the logic. So it's too much work. It's too much work to handle business logic, like setting up a company, managing like refunds, payouts, all the business logic, coding in your app, like how subscriptions work, how renewals work, proration, like all this stuff. It's its whole other aspect of code that requires its own architecture and thought versus the actual building of the product itself, the core product, which also requires a ton of intensive thought. So imagine trying to juggle all of this yourself. It's just way too much. It helps immensely to have 3 and even 4, 3 other co-founders, so 4 total, that's what we have, which is an immense help. And I'll explain a bit why it's even more beneficial in our case, because each one of us has good domain knowledge. Now, this is kind of common sense, right? Like, why do things yourself when you can have a team? But most people don't really think about this when they go into a business, and they like self-delude themselves, which is what I did myself. When I built it, I'm like, I could do this myself. Why do I need co-founders? And sure, it's okay to go in if you don't have any other option to have a co-founder and you have no one possible in your social circle to build a company with. Okay, you can go into it as a learning experience, but don't expect a great outcome, because the favorability of the outcome will be dependent on the inputs you put in, which, by the way, includes understanding the market size, like I explained in my first video, but also the team. If you go in without a team, don't expect to be wildly successful. It's just not likely going to happen. Maybe in that 1 in a billion case, it's possible, but it's just the exception to the rule. It's not the rule. So that's number 1. I would definitely say surround yourself with a team. Ideally 2 additional co-founders, but 3 is also very good, especially if they're actually contributing and not like dead weight. Now, additionally, that doesn't explain like what type of team you should build. So let me just explain a bit about our team and why I think it's like the most optimal team possible. We have 3 software developers, including myself, and I would be classified as like the chief AI officer or whatever. It's just bullshit labels and tags, but that's my job. My job is leading AI strategy, how we implement AI in the app, its security, rate limiting, and generating the formulas for Harmony and all these things. So I'm basically like the algorithmic lead behind the facial formula, the ground truth of the app, and how we implement AI. That's my job. And of course we bleed over and help one another, so it's not like I'm the only one that's ever done this and this is just all attributable to me. That's not true, but that's my role, that's my responsibility. So I would say my role in the company is to have the most domain knowledge about facial aesthetics, because I've worked in the field for longer than everyone else on our team. If you guys are familiar with Kuvs, which I'll explain my backstory a little bit in another video, but Kuvs is another excellent facial aesthetics channel. And I worked there for a few years, both as a script writer, producing some of their most viewed, I think they're still most viewed YouTube video. And in the process of doing that, I had to read hundreds of research papers and writing. Writing helps a lot in memorization and absorption of information. So not just passive writing, like copying and whatnot, but creative writing, like building the essays, building the scripts from scratch. That's immensely helpful for retaining information. And that also applied when I wrote my book on soteriology, which is the Christian, not the Christian exclusively, but the study of salvation and religion. So I wrote a book on that, and unsurprisingly also writing that book helped me memorize pretty much every argument I've written in that book, like the back of my hand. I could reiterate it. So the same applies to facial aesthetics. But now this is where the excellent part is. I'm not the only one on our team with domain knowledge. So everyone on our team understands facial aesthetics, I would say above like 70th percentile minimum. So most people here are very knowledgeable, even 80th percentile, about facial aesthetics, which helps immensely. Now this is a problem I think people who start companies get into, is that they don't have domain knowledge in the company they're trying to build. For instance, if you're trying to build a software that helps hospitals manage their client, their patient-doctor, patient-provider relationship, like client relationship management platform or whatever, and you know nothing about hospitals or anything about how that works, that is a terrible idea, terrible, because you're going to have to outsource the creation of that to someone else that doesn't have equity in your company, and it's just not optimal at all. So you need to have domain knowledge, and ideally at least one person has excellent domain knowledge in the field you're getting into, but it's much better and more optimal to have multiple people. In fact, all the people, including the people that are handling marketing. So again, our team consists of 3 software developers. I handle AI and algorithms for the actual analysis. The other 2 handle maybe more general stuff that can bounce around. One will handle like Creator League, which is what we launched recently, which is like a UGC, user-generated content platform, where we pay people to make content on FaceIQ Labs, and it's automated, fully automated, so we don't have to oversee them, like hanging over them, telling them everything they're going to do. They have a lot of creative liberty, and they get the payouts themselves. So it's a very good platform for user-generated content, and he built that. And we have the other software developer, Dima, who does other things, including like setting up Stripe and other features in the application. There's many different features we have in FaceIQ Labs, so we can delegate tasks like this, which is super optimal when having a team. And then FaceIQ for us, he handles all the marketing, and he's excellent at that, and he understands business logistics very well as well. There's really no deficiencies in our team, and any place where we have a lacking point that isn't optimal, the other members fill it out well. So that's what a team should be. It should be a cohesive cohort of people that have no weaknesses and that complement one another. That's what it should be. But if your team has no domain knowledge, they don't understand, no one understands business in your team, which is less of an issue usually. That's like very easy to learn. You can learn like the business essentials in like a week, easy. But in terms of actually acquiring domain knowledge and what you're building, that takes time. And if no one has that, your team is deficient. It has a hole. It's useless. It's going to be exposed, and you're not going to be successful. That's just the fact. It's like if you were trying to build, especially this applies even more so to very technical things. Like if you're trying to build a drone company and no one on your team understands drones, like that's just retarded. You're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna do anything at all. So find something where you have domain knowledge and expertise. And this is easier to do when you're in less technical fields. So if you start a company that is like a clothing brand, now there's still some technicality to that. You have to understand graphic design. You have to understand, I guess, the business aspect of it, like distribution. But it's a lot easier to learn, and there's less of a learning curve. So you can acquire domain knowledge there quite easily. But just understand this, like whatever you're getting into, just don't do it if you don't have domain knowledge. Like you might think it's a good idea. You might think there's like an opportunity in the market. You might think that you have smart friends that you can build a company with. But this is kind of self-explanatory. Don't do it if you don't know anything and you don't know deeply about that field. It's just not worth it. So now before we go to the gym, let me just summarize briefly. So team is essential, surrounding yourself with a team of people that you can share tasks between, and that these people you trust can do things effectively, efficiently, that they're intelligent, that they're smart, and that they're diligent. Like don't have people that are lazy and dead weight on your team. Surround yourself with a team. Don't do it alone if you want to start optimally. If you don't have anyone to do it with and you can't find co-founders, then you can either just defer it and wait till you find someone, or I guess just think of it as like a test run, a learning experience. But don't expect anything substantial to come out of starting something on your own. Secondly, I would say acquire domain knowledge before you get into building something, especially if you're young, you have time to do that. But if you don't have domain knowledge in anything, then try to choose a field, I suppose, that requires less domain knowledge, but that'll be much more difficult because there are probably a lot of competitors in that field. And if there are competitors that can replicate what you're building and have a team that matches yours in domain knowledge, then you really don't have that much of a differentiator to warrant being that successful. Like, it's unlikely that you'll be more successful than the next team. I don't know if you guys watched FaceIQ's stream, but afterwards we just had like 2-3 hour philosophical conversation on the couch over there, which I don't know, maybe we'll think about posting it. It's pretty interesting. Also, before I go to the gym, let me just speak a little bit on the recent feature we launched in FaceIQ Labs, which is called Body IQ. And it just analyzes your body the same way we analyze the face across 3 pillars. So harmony, miscellaneous, and definition. And understandably, we already anticipated this. And I'll tell you guys the motivation of why we built it. Chronic and Road to 1% were building something similar, right? They were building an app that analyzes your body, including its harmony and whatever. I don't understand I haven't memorized their exact system. But yeah, so they're doing something similar. And therefore, in FaceIQ's video on the release, some people were saying, oh, you copied Chronic, you copied Road to 1%, right? Or RIP Road to 1%, right? But this is not how you guys should think about business, because if you think about it this way, it's a victim mentality. I've been copied thousands of times, probably at this point, including by FaceIQ, including by Chronic, of their own admission, at least by FaceIQ. There's nothing wrong with copying, and you shouldn't think of it as copying. There's nothing inherently wrong with copying. It's just the way it's framed. Copying is like a dysphemism, because a euphemism for copying would be like, I drew inspiration from it. That's a little bit too reductionist. Like, I didn't just draw inspiration, but copying is also, the way it's framed, is kind of a dysphemism, because it kind of implies like plagiarism or like unethical copying. But that's not how you should think of business. There's ethical, and then there's like more neutral, and then there's like unethical copying, which would be plagiarism, theft, like stealing something directly from their code or directly copying it. But if something is public domain and it's you think you can improve it, that's just iteration. That's how Facebook started from MySpace. That's how dozens of different apps started. They're iterations on previous similar things, right? Or even very, very similar things. So also, it's not like they had a novel idea. Analyzing the body is pretty saturated market right now. I do think they had a good idea. It was done very well, and I think the ratios they came up with were very useful, similar to ratios I created when I first created the Harmony system. Apparently people found them useful, and they've copied the initial app I made dozens of times over, including creating new systems that iterate on top of that, like Chronix, right? That's exactly what we're doing. So we just did it a little bit faster, right? And we went to market faster, which is, again, I'll give you guys another business lesson, which is ideas are worthless unless you can execute on it, which it does look like they're executing, but you can never tell until they actually release the product. Like, building the product is easy. It's when you actually have it released and you have to deal with bugs, you have to deal with features that aren't working properly, and you have to actually get it production ready. There's something called the Pareto principle, which is that 20% of the effort can yield 80% of the results, but that extra final 20% of the results has to take a lot more effort to polish, right? And you don't have to have a fully polished product in order to release. I'm not saying that. In fact, we don't do that. You should launch first and then iterate. But the point being that you can do all this initial work so that the product looks kind of nice in a preview, but until it's actually released, you can't really say anything on it until you try it out, right? That applies still to their app, because their app has yet to be seen, has yet to be used. So we went to market first. We're going to iterate faster first, and I improved on their product. I added automatic body fat analysis with visual sliders, and they're free to draw inspiration from that and build that themselves as well, of course. In fact, if you guys understand, we were the first ones to build the landmarking onboarding flow with the reference images and the layout on the side of the component on the side of the viewport on web and also on mobile, where you have the reference image on the left of the face, and they literally just copy that, and that's okay because it's actually a good UI design. I think it's a very simple one for landmarking flow, and they could have taken a different landmarking flow approach, but they chose to do pretty much one exactly like what we use on Face IQ Lab. So they copied that, but there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's not necessarily actually a bad thing for them either, because it could just expand the market for them, having this type of body analysis thing, or if it could also be a drawback, but that's part of business. Again, it's like chess. There's nothing unethical or moral in nature about beating someone in chess, making a better move, right? Or being faster than them, being quicker. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just part of the game, right? It's part of competition. Like, I'd also say that not everything is fair. There's two senses I define fairness here. The way people think of fair, like, oh, this is unfair. Why is this person in Bali working hundreds of hours, or 80 to 100 hours a week, hard manual labor? Why is he so poor? And then this person working 40 hours is making millions of dollars. He doesn't even work half as hard, which I acknowledge. The thing is, there's different definitions of fairness. Like, fairness is something being justifiably derived from the inputs you put in, right? And if you put the inputs in, if you sow X, then you expect to reap what would stem from those inputs, right? Like, if a person's inputting working in a farm or a field, there's nothing logically that would extend from that he should be making millions of dollars, nothing. But versus the person who works more efficiently or has been dealt maybe a better hand, luck is also a factor, that they can put in the inputs to invest their money to start a startup. They get the output, which is to be wealthy, right? That's how it works. But it's not fair in the sense that it's favorable in your mind, right? But that's not the definition of fairness. That's not the definition I would ascribe to fairness, right? Because I would say fairness is getting what is justifiably expected, or the product of an input, right? But if you multiply 1,000 times effort times working in a field that has no correlation at all to being wealthy because you get a salary for working that specific role, then don't expect the outcome to be correlated to that, right? If you don't have the inputs, if you don't have the team to iterate as fast as we do, you can't build as fast as we can, you can't come to market as fast as we can, then it's not like it's your fault, because again, there's other external factors, but there's also factors that are internal to your team. Some things are, of course, external to yourself, but you don't want to have an external locus of control where you always blame external things. It's like me trying to complain about being 5'10". I'd love to be 6'3", and maybe you can attribute some shortcomings, no pun intended, shortcomings of dating to your height, but you can't change it, barring lengthening. But you understand my point. If there's something you can't change, then it's pointless to focus on that and complain about that as being unfair. Yeah, if we're more successful, if our app does better, if we go to market quicker, if we borrow their concepts, their ratios, improve upon them, iterate faster, release faster, that's just us putting in the inputs to get that output. There's nothing unethical about it. If you go to market slower and can't make a good product, then it's about your inputs. It's not about anyone else. It's just your inputs, and ideas, again, are worthless. I could have complained with my Harmony app, which was the first of its genre, right? The first of the Harmony analysis with the pillars that I wanted to add in the future. But I couldn't add them because I just didn't have the knowledge to execute on that. I didn't have the team behind me. I didn't have the inputs. Versus now, I have the inputs to execute on that. So it's no one's fault if I didn't execute on the Harmony app and only made X amount of dollars. I didn't make $10 million for my Harmony app. Well, that's unfair. I put 1,000 hours into the Harmony app. How did I not get the result of 10 million? Because the 1,000 hours aren't directly correlated to the 10 million. You need other inputs to support that outcome, right? It's not just about the amount of time you put in. So you need to think about these things beforehand. And if someone took my Harmony app concept, like Face IQ, let's say I never joined his team, and then he built Face IQ Labs 1,000 times better than my app and made a lot of money from it, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I wouldn't say that's unfair. I wouldn't even be mad. I would actually be happy about that, because it's like, I would like to be a part of it, which I am, but there's nothing like wrong. I would never say anything like distasteful about that. It's just iterating on a previous product, which obviously they think is good and market worthy, has product market fit, then making it better. And that's the recipe for success. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. So it's not like plagiarism. Like, if you've seen all of Chronic's videos in Road to 1%, they didn't share like their formula. They didn't share their underlying, even the ideal ranges for every ratio. So all this stuff had to be derived through iteration and testing. So it wasn't just something we just copied, like stole their code or something. It's not how it works. Like, someone could literally take our app, Face IQ Labs, and try to recreate it. And I implore them to, if they think it's a worthwhile pursuit. I literally implore them to do that. I don't think you'll be able to do it as fast as we did, but anything can be replicated with enough time. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But during the time that they're building that and copying, quote unquote, which is again not unethical, we can be iterating and making ours better. So it's about being first, being quicker to market, who has a better team, who can do things better. That's what matters. And complaining about that is just victim mentality. Let's go this way. This was the crime scene last night, the vomiting. Pretty nice house. Gym's downstairs. Hello. Thanks. There's a little cat. A cat. It's another cat. Come, kitty. I don't really want to. I have pet the cat before. It's a boy, but I usually wash my hands afterwards because I don't think they're that clean. What's up, yo? I'm vlogging. You mind? Or not? All right. It's Nigga Hussein. All right.
Wait, you're saying that word?
Yeah.
Want to go on YouTube?
Yeah. Of course.
Damn.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
All right. So I'm gonna start with some pull-ups. I'm gonna try to do 20. I don't know if I can do more than 20 right now. Like, literally today, I just had a box of Pringles. And that's it. And last night, I had a cinnamon roll. So in the last 14 hours, all I've had is literally shit food.
Let's cook up some eggs, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna make some beef and eggs after. All right, let's go. Shit. Fuck. One more. It's 25.
25.
Is that good?
Obviously.
After this, guys, I'm gonna do this, guys. W form. A little bit of leg kick, but it's good. Let's go. Nice.
17.
Dude, that's really good. 17 is really good, bro. All right. Usually I'd be doing some front levers, but as you can tell, the bar is kind of obstructed, so you can't extend your head all the way back. But I'll do some body weight rows like this. So 2 more sets of pull-ups and some body weight, or not body weight rows, barbell rows. The blood's rushing out of my head. Now we really want to start building the mobile app for FaceIQ Labs, because I think it'll just suit a mobile experience much better. And there's so many different micro interactions you can maximize on mobile. So we'll definitely try to start that this month. But it's not a big process to build because we already have all the back end built. So it's not like starting entirely from scratch.
I'm not the same anymore, just your cold embrace. I see you to a better place. I feel no pain anymore since you've gone away. All of the fear inside of me fades away.
Hussein,
Yeah?
tell them how much we grind every day. How many hours?
Guys, minimum 12 hours,
Minimum.
up to 16 hours. And if we have a clear goal in mind, then people like Dit can go 24 plus hours. That's how much we grind, baby. Fuck.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's not a flex, guys. That's just like the reality of what you have to do when you're trying to build something. It's not like a 9 to 5 where you clock in and then say, oh, I'm done for the day, I'm done for the weekend. That's not to say that you can't have breaks, you can't go out. I'm not saying that. But if you average out your hours, if you're putting in less than 12 hours a day on average, I think you're leaving things on the table, and I would question why. I would just question why. Of course, people have responsibilities like kids sometimes, but in that case, I just say your life is not set up to start something. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's just not optimal. See ya. Nice. So, I've got really poor, I forget what it's called, like lactic tolerance or something. If I do one set and I build up a lot of lactic acid and exhaustion in my muscles, the next set I can probably do 50% of the first set I did, which was actually even less this time. I did 25 first set, and then I did 10 the next set. So that's my body. That's probably also why I suck at cardiovascular activities. Although it's strange because I can play basketball pretty long if I get acclimated to it for like a few weeks, but other activities I kind of suck at. Let's do the last set of pull-ups. Should have some more microplastics coming in a few minutes. Bro, it's so nice we have a couch here. You guys like the haircut? Alright, let's set up the barbell. So this is the last. Bro, I'm slurring my words because I'm so tired. Holy shit. This always happens. When I work out, I can't speak very well. Already got the weights set up. Alright, let's do this exercise. Shit. Yes. It's a little bit too heavy. Yeah, it's a bit too heavy, especially after the pull-ups. But I'm too lazy to take off the weight. So I'm just gonna stick to like 6 reps. I'm pinged on Discord.
Let me know if you're listening. I'm just looking for a sign. You keep building the distance that divides your heart and mind. Let me know you can hear me. Let me see your light again. I keep chasing your shadow. In this maze, you're lost with me. Please don't go where I can't find. 'Cause I can keep you from falling to pieces. Then I
All right, guys. I'm exhausted. I think I'm gonna end the video there. If you'd like to see future vlogs or anything IRL content, let me know. Peace.